You're listening to Music Tectonics.
Welcome back to Music Tectonics, where we go beneath the surface of music and tech. I'm your host, Dmitri Vietze. I'm also the CEO and founder of Rock, Paper, Scissors, a PR firm that specializes in music innovation and music tech, and the guy behind the Music Tectonics Conference. This is a great day because today we've got Dean Wilson on the podcast. You might know him as deadmau5's manager, but we're going to find out a lot more today. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Thanks. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's kick it off. What makes 720, your management company, different from other management companies?
I think for me, it's about where we're heading to the future and what the technology is going to allow creators and IP managers in the music business to expand into this new frontier. I think that's what is exciting to me. And, managing a bunch of clients, or not particularly managing, most of our clients are partners. So we partner with them on a JV kind of basis. We fund it, we support it, we add management services to that joint venture. But it is very different. It's more of an entertainment business company, whatever you want to kind of call it in that lane. But it's not traditional music management where we say, oh, it's 15% or 10% or whatever it is. It's more about building careers and brands from the ground on up, partnering with our clients.
Is that a common model these days, or is that specific to you?
I don't think it's a common model. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think we've been told for a long period of time by a lot of different institutional type setups this is how you do it. Or you get a manager and you pay X amount of percentage and you get a 2-year contract. I'm like, well, how does that benefit anybody? Because, and then is this driven by legal? Is this driven by Don Passman's book? Is this driven by people say that this is how music and music managers work? I'm always been trying to, rip up the norms. We've been fiercely independent for a long time with regards to what do we do with our clients' IP, finding opportunities in places that didn't really exist or that are new, that are very, not risky, but they're new technology. And how can we use the IP? How can we create worth with our clients' IP in lots of different verticals? And that I think is gives you a basis of we're always trying to think outside of the box. Not, okay, this is how you make a record and this is how you put it out on DSPs and this is how you sit there and hope to God that somebody at a gatekeeper puts your record on a playlist that may give you a couple of million streams and you see these pennies come in. I just, it's a broken model for me. We went from music having value to music feeling like it has no value as a creation from creators. 0.000 whatever it is per stream, and you can't get to your fans. You're not allowed to speak to your fans. Everything that we have in Web2 is surrounded by gatekeepers. So whether it's Zuckerberg or Dorsey or Facebook, Instagram, Apple, Spotify, Deezer, all of it is, oh, great, look, I've got this many followers. Can I talk to my followers? No. Or why can't I talk to my followers that are following me because of my music on your platform? Oh, we can't allow you to do that. That's our data. Well, why is that your data when we have created your platform with our content? This is why Web3 is so exciting to me, is that shift of the power in the data and decentralized versions of that is what's really exciting.
Awesome. So your approach comes out of some of your work with deadmau5. And you mentioned you've got this kind of partnership model in your management company, and he's a big name on your roster, and you guys seem to partner on a lot. What were pivotal moments in your work together that shaped this perspective of how you approach managing artists today?
He's a technologist, I think, at heart. He's a gamer. He is a very smart guy when it comes to code and being able to build stuff. Taught himself how to build and code his own tour. He comes from that background. Before he was an electronic musician, he used technology to learn design, and then he used technology to learn how to make music, and then he's in every form of what that technology can do. And I think that's the most exciting thing about it is there's not a day goes by that there isn't his. Why don't we do this? We should try that. Have you spoken to these people? Have you looked at this technology? He's wanted to be fiercely independent for a long, long time. I mean, this isn't an overnight. Oh, look, here comes Web3, and we want to jump on that bandwagon. He's been wanting to do like a subscription style model for years, and it kind of started with a guy called Ray Lee, who had a company called Upfront Media. I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Ray's just launched a company called PeerPop and Peer Proof that we're advisors in, which is kind of like a Web3 social media TikTok style company that's built on chain. And Joel wanted back then to build a platform that was a subscription model and put all of his content behind this wall and basically say, for a monthly fee, everything's in there. You can download it, you can stream it, you can have it. It's yours once you're in there. And we were just miles ahead of our time at that point. And, I think it was just, no one was ready for that yet. And now, we've had a blockchain strategy for 3-4 years. It hasn't just happened overnight. We've been seeing that technology being built and the technology use cases been growing for a long period of time. NFTs literally just blew the doors off, right? It became what's this thing? And it exploded and everyone became laser focused on, blockchain, NFTs, Web3, metaverses, all these buzzy words, but put them in a hole and you can see what technology is going to be able to do for people in the future as this biz continues to be built and grown on the tech stack.
Right. Yeah. So with deadmau5, you've released a variety of NFTs, from collaborations with various digital artists to VIP packages. What from that have you learned about fan adoption of NFTs, and where do you see NFTs going in 2022?
What have we learned? Wow. We've learned that we like to do a lot of collaborations. It's really important to Joel. He wants to be able to bring in the art community and the music community, and bring different fan bases together with his brand and name and likeness and their art and his music bedded in. I think that was really important to us at the start as a story. It wasn't just, oh my God, we can make a load of money here. We've never been like that. It's never been about overpriced JPEGs. It's really important to us that anything that we do has utility, has value in the future, that you can be able to use it somewhere else. Like the Avatar series, the 5555 series, is being able to, the partnership with Ready Player Me, and being able to use your avatar, build your avatar, put your deadmau5 head that you own as an NFT, and be able to use that in any metaverse that as we build these different metaverses, you can take your avatar with you, and that's your identity. That's, you own that. That's your that's yours. And now it's got use. It's not just, oh, look at me with my NFT on my phone, and and the whole flipping culture and stuff like that. That's not what we're in the space to do. It's about the medium to long term game for us.
I'm curious, do you think the word NFTs will disappear, and this idea of digital goods, whether they're collectibles or utilitarian, like you're talking about, will become adopted by people without crypto wallets en masse? Yes. If so, what will it take to get there?
Technology, and technology that everyone can trust. I think trustword is the most important thing to mass adoption. End of story. Security and trust, right? Because who'd have thought 5 years ago that all of our credit cards would be on our phone, and we'd walk up to a machine and tap our phone on a machine, and that's how we paid for things. People would be like, "Oh no, you can't do that. That your phone will get hacked. Someone will pick it up, and you'll lose all your money." And now everyone's like, well, now people get frustrated if the machine doesn't do that. Well, the reason that they're okay with that is because they trust the system. They trust they're not going to lose their money. They trust they're not going to get hacked. And then if it's with a major credit card, or anything like that, if they see something that is illegal, then they get their money back. So, and I think that's what's holding mass adoption back to crypto or anything that is seen in the Web3 sphere is, oh, look at all these hacks, look at this, look at that. People have got their JPEGs stolen from OpenSea last week, and blah, blah, blah. See, it's not safe, and they're right to some degree. You know, there are a lot of people that have lost, and it can get really frightening if you're buying and selling crypto and you're moving stuff around in your MetaMask wallet and you don't have a cold wallet, and what's a cold wallet, what's a hot wallet, it's all really scary and confusing. When we bring it to mass adoption, it will be as easy as we currently use our phone and our credit cards and our apps, and then it will just be what we use. It won't be Web3 or Metaverse or crypto. It will just be, this is how we now use things in our life. So I think that the launch of Coinbase's NFT platform is the first, I think, major step into NFT mass adoption into a regular market, because you're going to be able to use your Coinbase account and two buttons on your Coinbase. They have 74 million active accounts, and now they've done a deal with MasterCard. So if you have a MasterCard linked to your account, you're now going to be able to buy an NFT with fiat. You don't even need to have crypto, because the NFT will drop into your Coinbase wallet, which is on your iPhone. So there's a publicly traded company. So here we go. Here's step one. You can see it happening in real time in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Amazing. So cool to hear about that, about where we're going to get to mass adoption. I'm curious to ask what emerging, I don't know if trends is quite the word, but what's emerging in NFTs right now that's most exciting to you? Maybe it's in some of the utility pieces of it. You talked about how this should always be of value for something else in the future. What are you seeing right now?
I think for me, it's about, what is a music NFT? What happens next to music? How is it going to be consumed within the blockchain ERC token, as whether you class it as an NFT or, like you said earlier, is it even going to be called an NFT? What will it be called in the future? I think you're right. I think it will change, and so I feel like platforms like M&A, Audius, that are the first transition of blockchain music with a vision to where it's going. They're going to be the first people to test out and try new forms of what that looks like. I think I'm seeing something really smart from the MODA DAO guys, Sean, Trent, and Jimmy, with they're called Genesis NFTs, where you can see classic catalog being able to turn into these Genesis NFTs. Fractionalized ownership. Obviously, everyone, that's another buzzword, and I think we're a long way from mass adoption there, just because of the legalities and the SEC and the security side of the business. Justin Blau and Royal was, a first door opening. But then, once you unpick it all, you go, okay, we need some framework. We need some SEC government regulation, and I'm talking so people know what they can and can't do legally, or whether they're going to be in legal hot water or not. We need some bumpers. We need some rules of the game. The big SEC thing last week with the $100 million fine for the Bitcraft guys. Everyone, the bankless guys say, okay, this is great, but the crypto world then saw that as a win because it made the SEC go, well, you're going to pay this fine and you can do this. Okay, it cost us $100 million for the SEC to give us an answer. It's fucking crazy with this big of a business and market cap that we don't have any regulations to be able to work from, and we need them to stop the scammers. We need them to stop the pump and dump and the rug pulling. We need it to stop the bad actors in this that are just trying to steal money at the end of the day. They're scams. We need that. We need to be able to police this better. And, the DOJ saying they're starting a task force is great. The more we can get support in the real world legally and from law enforcement, the better.
Mm. Hey, you just a little while ago, you mentioned MODA DAO, and I was going to ask you, I believe you're founder there, to explain a little bit about what that is as we get into this idea that in addition to a manager and a partner with your artists, you're also kind of listed and acting as founder for some of these things, co-founder and so forth. Tell us about MODA DAO.
So that was set up by Trent, Sean, and Jimmy. They're Australian guys, and they started Emanate. They've been working on that for, I know, we've been working together nearly 3.5 years on what a blockchain DSP would look like, and that's morphed multiple times as most startups do. And then out the back of it, we really started passionately interested in what DAOs are going to be able to do to, I think, any kind of business, alone IP, music business, whatever it is. I think DAO is going to be a really interesting model to be able to raise money and connect directly with investors at any level, your fans, your core fans, or you want to raise money to continue to build a business. So we wanted to basically get a group of like-minded people in the music business that were also futurists and say, okay, we know that Web2 is this, and a lot of it we think is broken, and we don't like the way that there's no transparency. We're not sure who's reporting, how it's being done, fingerprinting, where's all the data going. I can't get this data, or a lack of transparency. So we wanted to build a DAO for like-minded people and fans that could invest in something that could actually go and build products for the future. And the first thing is they're launching right now is a fingerprinting system on the blockchain, and then it will keep going from there. We want to try and solve the publishing side, the royalty side, all of this. We want to build onto chain and prove that it can be done, and this is how it should be done in the future. There's no point in trying to say, oh, we're going to fix the music business and change Web3. We're very realistic. That's not going to happen. We have, with independent big artists like Joel and our label Mousetrap and other like-minded artists and independent labels, have got to prove this is the better way to do it, using technology at the bleeding edge of technology for the future benefit of creators, IP owners.
I'm really intrigued of where you just went with that, because it's a question that I always have and that I had queued up to ask you. How should the traditional record industry be thinking about blockchain? Is this a parallel market that will grow to replace the existing listening, licensing, rights management, monetization model, or or will the existing players adopt it over time? Or is this a separate thing? Like you choose to go traditional, or you go to this kind of new decentralized route, or you kind of grow it till the use case is strong enough, and then the traditional players adopt it or even acquire it. How should the major labels think about it? How should the existing strong players in DSPs that have nothing on blockchain at this point think about it?
I think you're right. I think it's gonna run in tandem. It's like talking about Apple or Microsoft. When something new happens or whatever, they don't predominantly build it from the ground up. They see it, they find out what they feel like is the best, then they go and buy it. They go and purchase what they think is, and I think that's what will happen in the majors lane, right? Is they will wait to see the proof cases and all of it being tested out, do the due diligence and the tech stack, and then go, okay, this is working, this is what we're going to use. What's the time frame on implementation of that? Years.
So,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
You've got massive old baked in systems that they would have to run parallel systems, even if they wanted to do it for years anyway, just to make sure they all worked, that it all stacked up.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think about how, if you have this model of there's this parallel universe to prove the use case, and then somebody starts looking at it for acquisition, if you have one particular label or you have one particular DSP, then go and acquire it, can they get everyone onto the same kind of on the same rails? I mean, I know the whole point is that the rails are meant to be decentralized so that you have a sense of independence from any one player. But if somebody does acquire the rails, in a sense, you kind of have that issue of, well, their competitors won't want to play in the same way. And then all of a sudden, do you have like multiple kind of sets of blockchains that, and then I guess you have an exchange between the blockchains. I don't know.
I think that's a really interesting point, and I think that it's like, if you looked at EOS as a chain 3 years ago, everybody said EOS back then, oh, this is an ETH killer, super low gas prices. Now, really, people don't talk about EOS. They're talking about Avalanche, Solana, Polygon. These are the big side chains, layer twos. These are all the things that could potentially fix the horrible high gas prices. ETH merger 2.0 is going to be, that can't happen quick enough. I mean, yeah, it's got to work, obviously. And seeing how the proof of stake model is going to work with ETH is going to be huge, I think, with the expansion. But the decentralized conversation with all things blockchain is really interesting, because you're right. What happens when somebody comes along with $200 million and says, I want to buy that? And then the guys who built it and had a decentralized model then become capitalists at that point and go, yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah, we're going to do that deal. And then
we can decentralize later, guys.
Right, which is the biggest, which is, if you in the crypto deep lanes is this is the biggest laughing point, right? Is Binance decentralized? No. Is Coinbase decentralized? No. Is Solana decentralized? No. They all say they're gonna become decentralized. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, look, I'm a realist when it comes to capitalism and those models. Decentralized is a beautiful utopian view. Is it practical in some businesses or a lot of businesses? Probably not, because with decentralized and no firm governance comes bad players, bad actors, comes bad people making bad decisions with as you're seeing currently. There's a lot of bad things happening because people spin up things and you're like, well, and then they hype it up. They're not under any kind of regulatory legal boundaries, so they get away with it. It's interesting to see that Floyd Mayweather got in trouble. on Twitter. They're saying the Kardashians are in trouble on Twitter for hyping up certain coins that they're involved in. You can't do that with stocks. You can't do that. The SEC have firm rules about what you can and can't do. So, we need some regulations. We need some bumpers.
All right, so we've talked NFTs, we've talked DAOs, we've talked blockchain. It's time for us to talk Metaverse, right? I know you're a co-founder in PIXELYNX, which you talked about with your co-founder Inder Full at the Music Tectonics conference in October. What is PIXELYNX, and how's the progress going there?
Amazingly fast. Inder's done a fantastic job on building a great group of really excellent people dotted all over the world, which is this is new. Inder's just moved to LA. I met him 3 weeks ago for the first time. We'd started a business over a year ago, and I'd never met him.
Nice.
That was crazy stories of the
COVID.
Yeah, the pandemic,
so
right? But
back it up. What is it, first of all?
PIXELYNX is the portal to the metaverse. So we are building game mechanics and an iPhone app version with Niantic, who's the guys that did Pokemon Go. We're a big partnership with them. Big announcement coming in some point in May. And we'll start to roll out product May, June, and July. And then it will start to make a lot more sense of what have we been doing? What have we built? What are we building? And the whole use case of what do we do with music in the metaverse? How will it be consumed? How will it be used? Everyone talks about virtual concerts. Well, that's great, but what's happening while the virtual concert's going on? Where can you go? What can you do? What can you collect? What can you be incentivized to do? What can you do with your NFTs in those metaverses? And keep going and going and going and going. Then that's kind of where we are at. There are no rules, and I say we're building a spaceship. We're not going to the moon. We don't even know what planet we're going to yet, but we're building it as we're flying it like everybody else is. There are multiple metaverses out there already, and everybody's got a different viewpoint on what it looks like and what it's going to be. From Sandbox to Decentralization to all the partners at Ready Player Me, that everybody's building what the future in the virtual space will be. I think the metaverse is an interesting word, because anyone that says they know what the metaverse is, I'm like, how do you know what the metaverse is? It's just metaverse. It's just a group of ideas. I think Joel put it interesting. He was like, but the metaverse has been there for years, because online gaming is you're kind of there already, and you go with your avatar. It's just breaking down the walls of that, and sovereign identity, value for what you do and you purchase in any of those metaverses, and being able to take it wherever you want to be able to take it to. You might want to put it on a marketplace and sell it. It's like if you're spent $5,000 in Fortnite, that's it. You've spent $5,000 in Fortnite. You can't sell it. You can't take it out of the game. You can't use it in another game. You can't use your skins anywhere else. You can't take anything that you've purchased in there that doesn't have any intrinsic value to you. You're just passionate about the game, and you wanted, I want that new skin, or I want that new gun, or I want this, or I want that, or I want that potion, but it doesn't have any future value. That's what excites me about the building of all these metaverses, is your sovereign identity and what you're going to be able to do with your data and the things that you purchase and buy that sit in your wallet, that are your assets, that have your true real value with the things that you've done in the metaverse.
So it sounds like we just heard a little bit of insights into what PIXELYNX is building, without any specifics, but that sense of your passport of all that stuff that you can take from world to world. Yeah,
that's a great analogy. The passport. I think Ryan Gill at Crucible, if you get a chance to jump into his Telegram, he is fantastic group of people there also looking to build bridges. So, you will, passport is a great word. It's your passport as your online sovereign identity, and everything that you want to be able to put it in there. So it's a digital passport with all of your assets in it.
Yeah, love it. I love that world. I keep waiting for even the NFTs that we were talking about before, that I could bring them into a Zoom call or a game on the Oculus or on Steam,
Yep.
or possibly onto social media platforms and all that kind of stuff. Waiting for that to happen. Dean, this has been cool. I'm not quite done with you yet. I've got one more big question. Here at Music Tectonics, we like to get sci-fi. So what have we not discussed that you think will emerge in the future of the music industry? Where are things going? What's that next? I mean, it's so hard to ask you this question because you already live in the future. In a way, you're building towards this future. But take it, let's take it 1,000 miles out further, or 10 years out further. What else? Get sci-fi with us, man.
How will you consume music in the future? I think that you will have a completely different relationship with your fan base. You will have a huge community. We see it on Discord right now. We've been doing that for years because it was what we did for gaming, and now it's exploded into blockchain and NFTs and crypto. So where does that keep exploding? I think that how we will connect with our fans will absolutely fundamentally change over the coming months and years, and then how we share our art. And I don't call it music. I'll call it art in general, whether it be digital art, whether it be avatars, whether it be assets, whether it be music, whatever it is, stems. You will be connected in a completely different way. You may buy a track, and within that track, you can basically have all of the stem parts. You can remix it. You own it. You may recreate your own NFT and sell it back in the same marketplace, and be able to build your own career that way. If you think about where we've come from in the last, from vinyl to CD to digital downloads to DSPs, what is the logical next step? The logical next step is what is the technology stack going to allow us to do? And that is infinitely hard to predict because it's moving so fast. The what's being built in on the blockchain and in Web3 is hard to even grasp on a daily basis, let alone weekly and monthly. What we're talking about right now doesn't exist, but may exist in a month and 2 months. And then by the end of the year, we look back and go, do you remember that conversation we had in, late February? And where we talked about, look where we are today. It's like, will DSPs even exist? Because if someone would have said to you 10 years ago, every single piece of music that you will ever consume is going to be on this thing, your phone, right? Which and unlimited for $9.99 be at your fingertips, you'd have gone, that's never going to work. That's crazy. I go to Apple's and I download my music and I put it. And
you know what they'd say?
They'd
say, "What you mean? But people would only get fractions of pennies." That's what they'd say.
Right. And it's so broken that the top, it's all so lopsided now. At least before, you could see minute by minute, you sold a single at $1.99, right? And you could pull all of your information in and you say, this week I sold 100,000 singles at $1.99. Okay, I know, minus my cuts, minus the distribution, I know got exactly that. I can't pull in real time in data and get an exact number today. That's gone backwards, like Concorde going backwards in airline travel.
Yeah.
We've made it harder for you to be able to work out what you're getting paid in real time with the technology is exponentially 100x'd. with how we consumed music. What? How did that happen? Because we allowed smart people to build platforms to not give us that information, and we allowed them to be okay with them not giving us that information. And then the guy that owns one of the biggest DSPs in the world is on the front of Forbes magazine. He's worth more money than Paul McCartney. He's never made a record in his life, but he built a platform.
Yeah. So the future will be unpredictable because it's changing so quickly, but it'll be interactive is what you're saying. There'll be a lot more dynamism.
Yeah. And in real time, on your phone, on your fingertips, on your laptop, everything from, what 5G is doing to the mobile market and the speed of the internet at home, everything will become more interactive because of the technology is moving so much faster. And the faster and faster it gets, the better the experience becomes.
Amazing, Dean. This has been an awesome, awesome conversation. We've covered up so much ground in so little time. Any final shout outs before we wrap up? Anything you want to make sure to plug into the mix for our listeners?
Just be aware and embrace it. Don't be scared by where we're going. Talk to the right people. Get excited. Talk to. I all day, every day. That's all I do is talk to people and try to help people understand where we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. Don't be frightened of how exciting the future is going to be with this technology layer.
Awesome. Dean Wilson with 720, known as a manager and partner of deadmau5 and other artists. Great to have you on Music Tectonics. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Dmitri. Really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to Music Tectonics. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We have new episodes for you every week. Did you know you can dig deeper into all our episodes with the show notes at musictectonics.com? While you're there, look for the latest about our annual conference, sign up for our newsletter to get updates, or get the Music Tectonics app for music tech news. Everything we do explores seismic shifts that shake up music and technology the way the Earth's tectonic plates cause quakes and make mountains. Connect with Music Tectonics on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Dmitri Vietze, if you can spell it, on LinkedIn. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Music Tectonics.